The sky was dark, and the sea roared like a wild animal. Mina stood on the shore, her fishing net in one hand, watching the waves crash against the rocks. She had lived in the small coastal village all her life. Every morning she would go to the beach, cast her net, and return home with whatever fish she could catch. It was a quiet and simple life, but it was all she knew. That morning, however, something felt different. The night before, a strange storm had hit the village. There had been no rain, just flashes of blue lightning and strange sounds in the sky. Some of the older villagers said they saw something fall from the stars into the ocean. Others thought it was just a dream, but Mina had seen it too. Now, as she walked along the beach, she noticed something unusual ahead. A shape, a body, her heart. Jump. She dropped her net and ran toward it. As she got closer, she saw it was a man lying face down in the wet sand. The waves kept trying to pull him back into the sea. He wasn't from the village. She had never seen him before. Mina knelt beside him. He was dressed in strange clothes, tight, smooth fabric with glowing lines. His skin was pale, and there was a thin, glowing band around his wrist. She touched his shoulder carefully. "Sir, are you alive?" He groaned softly. Relieved, she gently turned him over. His face was calm but tired, his hair wet and full of sand. His eyes opened slowly, bright gray eyes that looked lost and confused. "Where am I?" he whispered. "You're on the beach," Mina said. "Near our village. You were in the water. I think you were in the storm." He tried to sit up but winced in pain. "Easy," Mina said, placing her hand on his arm. "You're hurt. You need rest." The man nodded weakly. "Thank you. I don't remember much." Mina didn't ask more questions. She helped him up with great effort, putting his arm around her shoulder. Though he was tall and heavy, she was strong from years of fishing. Slowly, step by step, she took him to her small cottage near the cliffs. Her grandfather, old and wise, raised his eyebrows when he saw her come in with the stranger. "Who is this?" he asked. "I found him on the beach," Mina said. "He's not from here, maybe not even from this world." Her grandfather looked at the man's clothes and glowing wristband. He nodded slowly. Strange days. The storm last night was not a normal one." They placed the stranger on a soft bed near the window. He fell asleep almost instantly, breathing deeply. Mina sat beside him for a while, watching him with quiet curiosity. He was not like anyone she had ever met. Something about him felt important, like he carried a secret he himself didn't know. Later, Mina stepped outside and looked at the sea again. The storm had passed, but the waves still moved restlessly, as if something big had just happened. She thought of the lightning, the strange noise in the sky, and the glowing lines on the man's clothes. Was he from a ship? From the stars? Whoever he was alive because of her. And though she didn't know it yet, that one choice to save a stranger on the beach was going to change everything. The morning sun shone through the small window of Mina's cottage. Birds chirped outside, and the smell of the sea breeze filled the air. Inside, the strange man slowly opened his eyes. For a moment, he stared at the wooden ceiling, confused. Then, he sat up and looked around. The room was small but warm. A blanket covered him, and his wounds were bandaged. His strange clothes had been cleaned and folded neatly on a stool nearby. Just then, Mina entered with a bowl of hot soup. "You're awake," she said with a small smile. "That's good. You slept for almost 2 days." The man blinked. 2 days? She nodded and placed the bowl on the table beside him. "You were cold and weak. I think the sea almost took you. You're lucky I found you." He looked at her for a moment, then at the soup. "Thank you," he said quietly. Mina sat down on the other chair. "Do you remember anything? Your name, maybe?" The man touched his head and frowned. "No, nothing clear. I remember water, bright lights, running. But everything else is fog." Mina studied him carefully. He looked human, but there was something different in his eyes, something distant. His clothes were made from a smooth material she had never seen before, and the glowing band on his wrist still pulsed softly. "Well," she said, "we have to call you something, until your memory comes back." He thought for a second, then said, "Call me Rin." "I don't know why, but that name feels familiar." "All right, Rin," she said. "I'm Mina." Rin gave a soft smile. "Nice to meet you, Mina." Over the next few days, Rin rested in the cottage and slowly grew stronger. He helped Mina and her grandfather with small tasks, carrying water, cutting wood, even fixing a broken fence. Though he didn't remember who he was, he worked quickly and skillfully, like someone trained for more than just a simple life. One day, as he helped repair Mina's fishing net, she asked, "You sure you don't remember anything more?" He shook his head. "Only flashes. I see stars, machines, people wearing shiny armor. And I hear voices calling my name, but not the name Rin. Something else, something longer." Mina's eyes widened. "You think you're from the stars?" Rin looked up at the sky. "Maybe, I don't know, but I feel out of place here. Not in a bad way, but like I came from somewhere far, far away." She was silent for a moment. Then she said, "The night I found you, there was a storm. But it wasn't like any storm we've seen before. No rain. Just strange lights and sounds. Some people think something fell from the sky." Rin's face turned serious. "Maybe that something was me." Later that night, as Rin walked along the beach with Mina, he paused near the spot where she had first found him. "This place. It feels important," he said. He knelt down and touched the sand. Mina stood beside him, looking at the waves. "Maybe this is where your story started," she said softly. "Or where it ended." Rin replied. She looked at him with calm eyes. "No, it's just the beginning." They walked back to the cottage in silence. In the sky above them, a small silver dot blinked for a moment, then vanished. Neither of them noticed it, but someone else far away had. The village of Luma was small. Only a few families lived there, and everyone knew everyone. So when Mina started walking through the village with a tall stranger beside her, eyes began to watch, and whispers started to spread. "Who is that man?" An old woman asked near the well. "Where did he come from?" A young boy said as he ran back home. "He's not from here," said a fisherman. "He doesn't even look like a traveler." Mina tried to ignore the talk. She walked with her, head high, carrying her fishing net. Rin walked beside her, quiet and calm. He had offered to help her carry the basket of tools. He wore simple clothes now, borrowed from Mina's grandfather, but he still looked different, strong, graceful, and thoughtful. People could feel he didn't belong, even if they didn't know why. They reached the edge of the dock where Mina's small boat waited. She gave Rin the ropes, and together they pushed it into the water. "You don't have to help," Mina said, smiling. "I want to," Rin replied. "I feel useful." Mina noticed how easily he moved on the boat. He had never fished before, yet he understood balance, ropes, knots, like someone trained in other tasks but still familiar with work. He didn't complain. He didn't ask questions. He simply watched, listened, and learned. By afternoon, they returned with a basket full of fish. Mina was happy. It had been a good catch. As they walked back to the cottage, they saw Dalo, a boy from the village Mina had known since childhood. He stood near the path, arms crossed, watching them with a serious look. "Mina," Dalo called. She stopped. Rin stood quietly behind her. Dalo stepped closer. "Can I talk to you?" Mina nodded and walked a few steps with him. "I heard people talking," Dalo said in a low voice. "They say you brought a stranger into your house. Someone from the sea." "It's true," Mina said calmly. "His name is Rin. I found him on the beach after the storm." Dalo frowned. "You don't know who he is?" What if he's dangerous? What if he brought the storm with him? Mina shook her head. He's not dangerous. He's kind. He helps us. He doesn't remember where he came from. That's even worse, Dalo said. He could be hiding something. I trust him, she replied. I know what I saw in his eyes, Dalo sighed. Just be careful. People are talking. They think he's strange. Mina gave a small smile. Everyone in this village is a little strange. That's what makes us special. She returned to Rin and they walked home. That evening, Mina's grandfather sat outside the cottage, fixing a wooden chair. Rin sat beside him, watching the stars begin to appear in the sky. Boy, the old man said, you may not know who you are yet, but the stars know. They always do. Rin looked up. I wish I could remember. Sometimes, the grandfather said, it's a gift not to remember. It gives you a chance to become someone new. Rin nodded slowly. Inside, Mina cooked the fish they had caught. She watched them from the window and smiled. The stranger who had once washed ashore now felt like a part of her home. But deep in the forest, not far from the village, a small machine, hidden in the trees, blinked softly. It had long antennas and moved without sound. It was not from Earth. It had seen RIN. And it had started sending a signal. The sky above the village had been calm for weeks, but something had changed. Early one morning, Mina woke to a strange humming sound. She stepped outside and looked up. The clouds were moving quickly, and a soft glow passed over them. It was not sunlight, it was something else. RIN came outside too, alert and quiet. His eyes followed the same glow in the sky. He didn't say anything, but Mina could see it worried him. Later that day, as they walked to the beach, Mina noticed Rin looking around more often than usual. He kept glancing at the hills, the trees, and even the birds flying above. What is it? She asked softly. I'm not sure, Rin said. But I feel watched. Mina looked around, but everything seemed normal. Children played near the water, fishermen pulled in their nets, and old villagers sat by their doors, talking about the weather. Still, she trusted Rin's feelings. Ever since he had arrived, he could sense things before others did. They continued walking. Then, something caught Rin's eye in the sand. He knelt down and brushed the surface carefully. There was a small metal object, half buried. It was no bigger than a hand, round in shape, and smooth like glass. As soon as he touched it, the object blinked with a blue light. Mina stepped back. What is that? I don't know, Rin said, but it feels familiar. The object gave a soft hum and then clicked. A tiny antenna lifted from the top. Rin's face became serious. This is a beacon, he said. A beacon? Mina repeated, yes, a signal device. Someone planted it here. Maybe I did. Or maybe someone else did after I arrived. Why would someone do that? To find me. Rin held the device carefully. This is sending a message. That means someone is coming. Mina's heart began to race. Do you think they're from your world? Rin nodded slowly. Yes, but I don't know if they're friends or enemies. They returned to the cottage quickly. Rin placed the beacon inside a metal box and closed the lid. The humming stopped. Mina's grandfather looked at both of them. Something happened? Rin explained everything. The old man listened silently, then stood up and walked to the window. Long ago, he said, my father told me stories about people falling from the sky. He said the world is bigger than we know, and the stars hide many secrets. I never believed those stories, until now. What should we do? Mina asked. Stay calm, the grandfather said. But be ready. That night, Rin could not sleep. He stood outside, staring at the stars. He could feel memories pressing at the edge of his mind. He remembered machines, voices running through metal corridors. He remembered being chased. Then, one memory became clear. A ship. a large silver ship above the ocean. He was inside it, arguing with someone. Then he escaped. Fell into the sky. He touched the glowing band on his wrist. It blinked twice. Another signal. The next day, a sound came from the sky, a soft hum, like the one Mina heard before. People from the village stepped outside and looked up high above the sea. Something floated. It was large and gray, with smooth wings and no sound. It hovered in the air without moving, like a cloud made of metal. Then it disappeared completely invisible. People began talking, pointing, asking questions. Rin knew now. They had found him. He turned to Mina. They're here. Mina looked up, her heart pounding. What will they do? I don't know, Rin said. But I have to be ready. Deep inside, Rin didn't feel like a stranger anymore. He was beginning to remember who he was. And he knew his peaceful days in the village were coming to an end. The morning air was quiet, but Rin's heart was not. He walked alone to the beach, the same place where Mina had first found him. The waves were gentle today, as if the sea itself was holding its breath. Seagulls flew low, their calls softer than usual. Rin stopped near the old rocks and looked around carefully. Something inside him told him this was where it had all begun. He knelt down and placed his hand on the sand. His wristband blinked again, once, then twice. It was reacting to something. Rin dug his fingers into the sand, clearing away layers slowly. After a few minutes, he found something hard, a metal box, no larger than a book. He pulled it out carefully. The box had no lock, but when he touched the surface, it opened by itself. Inside was another beacon larger than the one before. This one had symbols carved into it, glowing softly in blue. As soon as Rin picked it up, a sharp memory hit him. He remembered running through a hallway filled with smoke. Soldiers were chasing him. He held this beacon in his hand, pressing it tightly. Then he reached an escape pod. The stars flashed around him as the pod fell toward Earth. His eyes widened. I planted this before I fell. This was my backup signal. Just then, Mina appeared behind him. You're up early, she said. Rin stood, still holding the beacon. I found something. I think this is how they found me. Mina looked at the object with worry in her eyes. Should we destroy it? Rin shook his head. It's too late. The signal already went out. They're close now, maybe watching already. She looked out at the sea. The water looked peaceful, but Mina now understood something dangerous was coming. What do they want from you? She asked. Rin looked down at the beacon. I think I was running from them. Maybe I saw something I wasn't supposed to. Or maybe I was trying to protect something. Mina stepped closer. You don't have to face them alone. Rin gave a small smile. I'm not afraid anymore. Not like before. Back at the cottage, Rin showed the beacon to Mina's grandfather. The old man listened carefully, then said, You've brought a storm to this village, boy. But maybe it was always meant to come. I didn't mean to bring danger, Rin said. I believe that, the old man replied. But now you must decide. Will you hide or will you stand? Rin looked out the window. The sky was slowly changing, clouds moving in strange shapes. He felt a pressure in the air, like the world was holding its breath again. I will stand, he said firmly. That evening, Rin walked with Mina up the cliff. From there, they could see the whole village, the sea, and the far sky. As the sun began to set, a soft light appeared on the horizon. Matte sunlight. Not stars. It was a ship. Large, silent, floating just above the water. Mina gasped. It's real. Rin stared at it with steady eyes. They've come. The ship did not move. It simply hovered, as if watching. Rin reached into his pocket and held the beacon tightly. Then he took Mina's hand. No matter what happens, he said, thank you for saving me, for trusting me, and for showing me a life I never knew I needed. Mina nodded. You don't have to go with them if you don't want to. I might not have a choice, he said. But now, I'm not just someone lost from the stars. I'm someone who was found. The wind picked up. The beacon blinked. Once more, somewhere deep inside the hovering ship, a signal answered. The next part of Rin's story was about to begin. The sky was dark even before nightfall. A strange silence covered the village. Birds were gone. Waves moved slowly. The large ship above the ocean still floated, still glowing faintly like a quiet moon. No one in the village dared to speak too. Loudly, everyone could feel that something was about to happen. Mina stood outside the cottage, her heart beating fast. Rin was beside her, dressed in the same simple clothes she had given him weeks ago. But his face had changed. He looked stronger now, more focused. The boy who had once washed up on the beach had become someone else, someone ready to face the truth. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air. Rin looked up. They're coming. From the bottom of the ship, a soft light opened like a door. A smaller craft dropped from it, silent and silver, like a bird made of glass. It hovered for a moment, then gently landed on the beach. The villagers watched. From behind doors and trees. No one moved. The craft opened. 3 figures stepped out. They were tall, dressed in shining suits of silver and blue. Their helmets were smooth and clear, showing human faces underneath. One was a woman with sharp eyes and long dark hair. She stepped forward, holding a small device that blinked green when it pointed toward Rin. She spoke first. Commander Rian, we found you. Rin's eyes widened. That name Rian, it felt real, familiar. It was his. I remember now, he said softly. The woman gave a small smile. You disappeared during the attack on the Meridian fleet. We searched every system. Your last signal came from this planet. Rin stepped forward. Why was I running? The woman's smile faded. Because you refused to follow the new order. You were trying to protect something they didn't want protected. Rin's face became serious. Was it the map? The list of safe colonies? Yes, she said. You hid it before you escaped. That map could save thousands of lives. Mina stepped beside him, confused. What is she talking about? Rin looked at her. Before I fell here, I was part of something big, a leader. But a group inside the fleet tried to take power. They wanted to erase the small colonies, places that needed help. I stole the only copy of the safe routes and escaped. I thought I died, but instead, I landed here. Mina looked at him with new eyes. He was not just a man without memory. He had been a protector. The woman stepped forward. Commander, we're here to take you home. The real fleet is still fighting. We need that map. Rin nodded slowly. I buried it. I remember where. He turned to Mina. This place gave me peace. You gave me strength. But I can't stay now. Mina's face fell, but she nodded. I understand. No, the woman interrupted. You don't have to leave everything. Rin looked at her, confused. You're still in command, Rian, she said. If you want to bring someone with you, you can. This is your mission now. Rin looked at Mina. She hesitated. I've never been off this planet. He smiled. Then maybe it's time to see the stars. They walked together toward the beach. The other 2 officers waited by the ship. As they reached the small craft, villagers slowly stepped out from their homes, watching in silence. Some waved goodbye. Some just stared. Mina single quotes as grandfather stood at the gate of the cottage. Follow your heart, he called out. That's where home is. Rin bowed to him with respect. As the craft doors closed, Mina held Rin's hand tightly. What now? She asked. Rin looked out the window as they rose into the sky. Now we go finish what I started. Together. The Fayez ship above opened its doors and pulled the smaller craft inside. Then, without a sound, it disappeared into the clouds. But down on Earth, the waves still remembered the day when a fisher girl saved a stranger and changed the stars forever. The stars were no longer far away from Mina. She sat quietly beside Rin inside the large silver ship. The walls were smooth and glowing with soft lights. A screen above showed the stars outside bright, endless, and full of mystery. It was nothing like the sea, but somehow just as deep. Rin stood in front of a table, speaking to the officers. Maps of space floated in the air, lines and symbols dancing before their eyes. Mina didn't understand much of it, but she could see the worry on Rin's face. "We have only days," one officer said. "The false command will reach the colony soon. If we don't get there first, many will be lost." Rin nodded. "We'll use the hidden route. The one I saved before I escaped." The woman officer, named Vera, looked at him. "You've changed, Commander. You're calmer." "I learned something on Earth," Rin said. "Peace is not weakness, and kindness is not failure." Mina smiled when she heard that. But deep inside, she felt something heavy. Later, Rin walked with her through the long halls of the ship. Everything was silent, except for a soft hum from the engines. They stopped by a window that showed a blue planet far behind them. Earth. Mina stared at it quietly. "I never thought I'd leave," she said. "You were brave to come." Rin said, "I'm not sure I belong here," she whispered. Rin looked at her, surprised. "Why do you say that?" "I'm just a fisher girl," Mina said. "This ship, the stars, all these people calling you Commander. It's not my world." Rin took her hand gently. "When I lost my memory, I had nothing, no name, no past, but you saved me. You gave me hope. That means more than any title." "But what happens after this mission?" she asked. "Will you return to your world and forget about me?" Rin shook his head. "I don't want the old life. I only want to protect what matters." Mina nodded slowly, but the question still stayed in her heart. Later, the ship reached a hidden station floating in deep space. It was small, hidden behind an asteroid field. This was where Rin had stored the secret map. They landed quietly. Rin and a small team, along with Mina, entered the station. Dust floated in the air. The place had not been touched in months. "It should be here," Rin said, guiding them into a locked room. He pressed his wristband on the door. It opened with a soft click. Inside, a glowing cube floated above a round table. Rin picked it up. "This is it. The map. All the safe routes, hidden colonies, and supply points." As soon as he grabbed it, alarms began to ring. "What's that?" Mina asked. Vera checked a small device. Her face turned pale. "They followed us. An enemy ship just entered the asteroid field." Rin turned to the team. "We must leave, now." They ran back to their ship, holding the map tightly. As they flew up, red lights blinked across the station. On the screen, a dark ship appeared behind them, sleek, fast, and full of weapons. "We're not fast enough." The pilot shouted, "Prepare shields." Rin ordered. Suddenly, a blast hit the back of their ship. The lights flickered. Smoke filled one corner. Rin moved quickly to help the crew. Mina grabbed a small fire tool and helped stop the sparks. Even in fear, she stayed strong. Another blast shook the ship. "We can't outrun them," Vera said. "We don't need to," Rin said. "We just need to get this map to the main fleet." He turned to Mina. "I need you to trust me again." "I do," she said without thinking. Rin moved to the command seat. "Send the map through the emergency signal. Even if we fall, the information will reach them." The officer beside him nodded and pressed a red button. A flash of light shot out from the ship carrying hope. Outside, the enemy ship came closer, but Rin, Mina, and the crew were ready to face whatever came next. Together,